ValveTime.net.
Hi, and welcome to the ValveTime News. Each week we'll bring you the biggest talking points regarding Valve and the community. Now the news. At this point, it feels like a tradition that Valve must get caught up in legal disputes every few years or so. This time, it was the turn of the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission, an official government watchdog, who recently announced that they would be suing Valve later this year for what they feel is a breach of local consumer law. The dispute is largely focused around the controversial refund policy used for games sold on Steam, as Australian consumer law requires all sold products to feature full available refunds, something Steam only currently offers in extenuating circumstances such as if a game or software is faulty or falsely advertised. The details of the case were shared by the ACCC in an attempt to outline their reasoning. Consumers were not entitled to a refund for any games sold by Valve via Steam in any circumstances. Valve had excluded, restricted, or modified statutory guarantees and/or warranties that goods would be of acceptable quality. Valve was not under any obligation to repair, replace, or provide a refund for a game where the consumer had not contacted and attempted to resolve the problem with the computer game developer, and the statutory consumer guarantees did not apply to games sold by Valve. Even though Valve is of course an American business based in Bellevue, Washington and features no physical presence in Australia, the ACCC still believes Steam is in breach of local consumer law as it continues to sell products to the Australian market, albeit virtual ones. Valve's VP of Marketing, Doug Lombardi, has since commented on the matter, claiming, "We are making every effort to cooperate with Australian officials on the matter while continuing to provide Steam servers to our customers across the world, including Australian gamers." While some of this is of course PR speak, it's probably in Valve's best interest to try and work alongside the Australian government on this matter rather than against them. The details of this case are eerily familiar to that of the recent case between Germany's VZBZ, who claimed local German consumer laws required Steam to feature the ability for users to resell their games, something later proved false. It's not currently clear who is in the right and wrong on the matter, but it'll be interesting to see whether Valve's seemingly unbeatable lawyers plan to defend this particular case. For the time being, the first case hearing is set to take place on October 7th, 2014 at the Federal Court in Sydney, and we'll be sure to let you know when we learn more. After several weeks of rather content-lacking updates for Dota 2, it was recently announced large-scale game patches will be returning with a rather big bang this coming week. As promised a little while ago, the Techies update was finally revealed on Friday, announcing that the long-awaited Techies hero would finally be added to the game. As a trio of explosive experts, the Techies specialize in planting landmines and stasis mines, which will either heavily damage or stun opponents that walk within a small area of effect. Alongside their trademark Suicide Squad attack ability, the Techies can also use their ultimate remote mines to plant deadly invisible traps that can be detonated on command from global range, potentially dealing up to 600 damage per mine in a 425 radius. The Techies will be joined by a rather large amount of content themed after the heroes themselves, including their own rare Arcana set with custom particle effects, models, and animations, and a bombastic box, which will be available via the in-game store. Once purchased, the box will provide the user with a Techies-themed heads-up display, an announcer pack, and a rocket-strapped courier in a Greevil costume. Despite the update's name, the patch will also introduce a bunch of other content not focused around Techies. These include a new game mode known as All Random Deathmatch, which has players randomly select a new hero upon dying, effectively ending the game once one team has used up all 40 of their total heroes. It would also appear a new Gallery of Triumphs will be taking the place of achievements originally planned and scrapped back during the Dota 2 beta. Upon completing certain objectives or criteria, such as winning TI4's 10 Hero Challenge or the Fantasy Dota League, players will be awarded with a trophy to proudly display on their Dota 2 profile. The new gallery is being shown off most prominently with the new All Hero Challenge, which challenges players to win a single match as every single one of the game's 108 hero roster, a little similar to the Head of the Class achievement from Team Fortress 2. Owners of the 2014 compendium should also be pretty pleased, as many of the promised stretch goals are set to be released with the update, including an assured victory shout which allows players to predict whether they will win the match or not, the Squint and Laugh taunt for Techies, a Battle Glory kill banner pack which provides exciting new visual effects for multi-kill streaks, and most interestingly, the International 2014 Music Pack, featuring a whole new set of in-game music composed by award-winning artist Chance Thomas. The new music is pretty exceptional, and luckily there's already a bunch of previews for the new soundtrack popping up on YouTube, which are definitely worth checking out, even if you're not a fan of Dota. While the 6.82 balance patch wasn't included with the update, it does feature a bunch more minor changes that we're not going to cover here. You might have noticed we've been saying set to be released a few times, and that's because while the Techies update has been fully revealed at this point, it is currently set to be released sometime early next week, likely Monday or Tuesday. Luckily for all you all-pick players out there, this should mean you have a little while longer to experience your favorite game mode before it's ruined forever by explosive terrorists, or demolition experts. Cactus Canyon was once again the focus of the weekly update for Team Fortress 2 as it introduced numerous new structure changes for Stage 3. The changes, while definitely less substantial than last week's, were still relatively important, including the addition of a rollback sequence for the train collision zone, a delay to when the cart arrives, and some adjusted cover close to the middle exit of Red's spawn room. While Stage 3 was being pampered and improved, its older brother, Stage 2, was actually removed from the map altogether, meaning the final control point of Stage 1 now leads straight to the new hatch doors at the start of Stage 2. It's not entirely clear why Stage 2 was removed, especially after so many improvements were made to it in recent weeks, and it's also not clear if it will ever return in any form. After several weeks away, Asteroid also returned with some new changes, albeit pretty briefly. The central arena was updated with new line-of-sight blockers to prevent sniper spam, and various health and ammo kits on the battlements were moved further into the bases, and then players found out Valve had forgotten to compile the map with clip brushes enabled, making the map ridiculously broken. For the time being, at least Asteroid has been reverted to the previous version originally released back on August 7th, 2014. It's likely the new changes briefly introduced will return at some point, most likely next week. Other minor changes featured in the update include more texture updates for the Da Locus bar, and the introduction of a new rock, paper, shotgun themed promotional item which currently has no purpose at the time of writing. For more details about this week's Team Fortress 2 update, be sure to check out the full changelog over on the game's official wiki. The development of the end-of-the-line map CP Snowplow also continued this past week, as the map was updated to B5 on Wednesday. This latest version focuses on widening or expanding previously tight gameplay spaces, hopefully making them a little easier to navigate while in combat. Changes include increased distance between points 1 and 2 in both stages, a widening of the area in front of point 3 in Stage 1, and the addition of an extra stairway flanking route for point 2 of Stage 2. Several areas were also detailed, bringing the map a little bit closer to looking as good as it deserves. If you're still interested in checking out CP Snowplow in order to find out how it's developing, the map is still being played around the clock on TF2Maps.net's US and EU servers, the IP addresses of which are currently on screen. With Snowplow progressing well and the end-of-the-line update approaching slowly but surely, James McVinney has continued to steer the hype train this past week by uploading a brand new poster to the recently released Team Fortress 2 merchandise section of the Steam Workshop. The 27 by 40 inch film poster is themed around the upcoming short film and features artwork inspired by the Team Fortress classes set to appear in it, including the Scout, Sniper, Heavy, Engineer, Soldier, Medic, and a cat-loving pyro. Once produced, the poster will be available in 24 by 36 inches and 18 by 24 inch versions for those of you who may not be able to fit a full-sized film poster in your room. As with every other piece of merchandise uploaded to the Steam Workshop, the poster is currently being voted on by the community in order to see if it receives enough positive support in order to be sold as a piece of official merchandise distributed by We Love Fine and Valve. Given how the end-of-the-line short will ship alongside an official community update, it's likely we'll see this poster released as Team Fortress 2 merchandise shortly after the event is completed. If you want to support McVinney and the rest of the end-of-the-line team, feel free to head on over to rate and favorite the poster page on the Steam Workshop. While the last few updates for Counter-Strike Global Offensive have focused on silly birthday-themed content or updated functionality for GoTV ahead of VSL 1 Cologne 2014 tournament, this week's patch returned to introduce more substantial balance tweaks for several maps. These changes include the removal of a few unintended boosting spots in Mirage, some optimization tweaks in Rush, unique spawn sounds for insertion, and some minor geometry and layout alterations for the ever-changing overpass. Other miscellaneous changes featured in the update include increasing the price of the Zeus to 400 after it was briefly decreased to 100 last week, the addition of positional audio support for those using Mumble voice chat, and the conclusion of this year's birthday party. The Source Filmmaker team have definitely been busy lately after the release of the Black Mesa content pack last week and the Portal 2 and Blade Symphony versions a little while before that. Earlier this week, the team announced the release of the Left 4 Dead content pack, which features all of the assets from both 2008's Left 4 Dead and 2009's Left 4 Dead 2. Alongside the maps, sounds, models, animations, and particle effects, the Left 4 Dead pack also features all the individual music stems used to create the series' distinct dynamic soundtrack. In theory, this would allow you talented editors out there to string together individual snippets to create new songs and pieces of music that are, quote, recognizably Left 4 Dead, but also uniquely your own. The Left 4 Dead content pack, like all the other DLC packs added thus far, can be downloaded for free from within the file menu of the source filmmaker itself. The recent source filmmaker content invasion doesn't stop there, however, as the awesomely talented folks over at DeviantPicturesFilms released a new short this past week to announce the release of their own downloadable content. The Combine Beta Units pack includes 4 high-quality models created from scratch to mimic some of the Combine NPCs originally set to appear throughout Half-Life 2, including the Synth Elite Soldier, the Super Soldier, and everyone's favorite, the Cremator. The models, shown in action throughout the video, are not related to the old version stolen from Valve way back in the 2003 leak, and instead are original recreations based on concept art from various sources, including Raising the Bar. All 3 main models, including an extra green variant for the Synth Elite Soldier, can be used within Gary's Mod and Source Filmmaker, so here's hoping we'll see some of these cut enemies make appearances in future projects by both DeviantPicturesFilms and the rest of the Source Filmmaker community. A download link for the model pack has been provided in the video description in case you're interested. That wraps up another week of Valve news. We promised you a database episode last week, and I still didn't get around to recording it. So don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, to follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and to check out our website over on ValveTime.net to stay up to date with the unending drama of whether I will actually record a thing or not. If you enjoy our content, be sure to share this video with your friends and to rate our Dota 2 announcer pack positively over on the Steam Workshop. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.